Hoda, what's the latest with the fighting on the ground as things stands? Is there now this push towards Tripoli by the rebels?
Well, there is certainly a will to go to Tripoli by the rebels. We've seen many volunteers, hundreds of them actually, taking weapons and really, as you would say, just hitting the road. A lot of them went to AlJazeera and Brega, especially that Brega is a main hub for oil and gas in this country, and it's something both sides don't want to let go of very easily. Both sides realize this is a very key position. There is a will to go to the rest of the country, but the distances are so big, the dangers are so much on these sort of very long tarmac roads. They are uncovered, they don't have anything to protect them from airstrikes if that should occur. So I think at the moment there is a will, there is individual effort, but I don't think there's yet a mass movement of people from here to the west because of all these difficulties.
But as you say, many difficulties, vast areas of desert, of course, between both sides. So there now seems to be a stalemate between the rebels on the one side and Gaddafi forces on the other. How's that likely to be broken, Hoda? Well, apologies for that. We appear to have lost Hoda in Benghazi there. We'll try and get back to her if we can. Now, as thousands flee the trouble in Libya, one man is waiting for the moment he can go home. Masoud Salem escaped from Libya 30 years ago after he was jailed for speaking out against Gaddafi's regime. He says he's now ready to leave behind his successful business in the US state of Pennsylvania so he can return to his homeland. This is his story in his own words.
Hi, I'm Masoud Salem, the owner of Salem Market in Pittsburgh. I have some family in Tripoli. We have Libyan people pro Gaddafi in every city, and they report for Gaddafi. I stood up and I told him this is not right, and what you're saying is not good. I guess from that time, I know I'm going to jail. I came to the United States November 6, 77. Pittsburgh, yeah. All my life in Pittsburgh. After that, we tried to look for fresh meat and halal meat. The first year, could not find where we can slaughter our own. So I have friends, they ask me why you don't open a butcher shop. Opening store is not easy. We have with $6,500. Now we have two stores.
We're going to tell them this is our #1 love guy.
They tell me, did you play with the Steeler? I said, no. Some people, they afraid to say I am Libyan. I always say I'm proud of my country, Libya. Always in my mind, I'm going back. I'd like to die in Libya. I'd like to see my people there. All of them every time when you're coming. Now I told them when the revolution starts, I will be there after Ramadan, inshallah.
China has announced a big increase in this year's defense budget, but officials in Beijing say the 12.7% increase in military growth is not a threat to other countries. The return to a double-digit increase would put China's 2011 military budget at almost $92 billion. The plan must be rubber-stamped by the National People's Congress, which begins its 5-yearly meeting on Saturday.
Since the NPC session has not yet formally opened, if it's approved by the upcoming session, the defense budget for the year 2011 will be around 601.1 billion yuan.
AlJazeera's Melissa Chan has more on the focus of this year's meeting.
It's one of the few times of the year when China's leaders make major announcements. The National People's Congress, ostensibly the country's legislative body, but with much of the decision-making made well beforehand. This year, the government's preoccupation will be the economy. Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao has said he would like to see China limit its annual GDP growth to 7%. Given the soaring real estate prices, the government has promised 36 million affordable homes to be built over the next 5 years. Personal income tax will also see a change, with the premier promising it will benefit medium and low-income brackets. It's clear the government is concerned not just with China's growing economy, but with how the money is distributed.
It's a shift from a focus on quantity to quality. And then whether that has to do with the environment or geographic distribution of development or income distribution among classes.
Inflation is the other big problem here, particularly with food prices, giving people a reason to grumble about the government every day.
It would use all the mechanisms at its disposal, interest rates, reserve requirements, even the exchange rate to fight inflation.
So on Saturday, when Premier Wen Jiabao takes the podium, it will be to assure the public the government has this under control.
This year, the word to watch for will be happy. Already, we're seeing it in state media, a happy China and happy Chinese. It's a government promising more than just the basics to the people, more than prosperity, but also well-being. Melissa Chan, AlJazeera, Beijing.
The lawyer for US CIA contractor who's facing murder charges in Pakistan says paying blood money to the victims' families is the best way to free his client. Raymond Davis has been charged after shooting 2 men. He maintains he acted in self-defense. A judge decided on Thursday that he wouldn't get diplomatic immunity in Pakistan. Pakistan's Finance Minister Abdul Hafiz Sheikh says the government will halve a proposed 10% hike in fuel prices. The decision came after political pressure from a key party in the ruling coalition. The economist said the government must raise fuel prices to improve its economy. 6 women have been killed in Côte d'Ivoire during a rally in support of Alassane Ouattara, the internationally recognized winner of November's presidential elections. Witnesses say security forces loyal to President Laurent Gbagbo gunned the women down in a northern district of Abidjan. Côte d'Ivoire's UN representative, who was appointed by Ouattara, says the world body must be as strong on this atrocity as on the crisis in Libya. The US president says America must increase efforts to stop guns and money being sold into Mexico. Barack Obama has met the Mexican president, Felipe Calderon, in Washington. Tensions have increased after a US immigration agent was shot dead in northern Mexico by a weapon smuggled from the US. Kimberly Halkett has more.
You can count on us.
It was a warm welcome for Mexican President Calderon at the White House, but behind the public smiles and handshakes, a strained relationship between the two countries remains. The reason, the escalating violence in Mexico's drug war. Calderon criticized the United States for not doing enough to help his country fight organized crime groups responsible for the violence. He blames the U.S. for turning a blind eye to weapons seeping south across its border and not doing enough to stop U.S. demand for illegal drugs.
Thousands of military officers and police have fallen in the line of duty in Mexico. To these deaths, we add the death of Jaime Zapata.
Jaime Zapata is the U.S. immigration agent killed reportedly with a gun purchased in the United States. The White House wants the alleged killer tried in the U.S. Appearing on Capitol Hill, the Homeland Security Secretary reassured lawmakers that would be the case.
Is it the administration's position that we will be seeking extradition into the United States? That's very good news.
Mexico wants assurances the U.S. would not seek the death penalty if the suspect is convicted. But the White House acknowledges it shares responsibility for the wider drug problem.
I reiterated that the United States accepts our shared responsibility for the drug violence.
The U.S. acknowledges